Patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, more numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
This just in. A sudden spike in logic levels across the city. Citizens report seeing a man with glasses and a podcast mic. We go now live to Liberal Dan. Yo, who you gonna call when Nazi writings on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, cause you know we got a plan. The right wing talking shit, but he ain't about to quit. He'll take his proton pack and zap your logic cause it's whack. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall.
It's being reported that Liberal Dan is setting up what appears to be some sort of straw man containment field.
He's calling out your lies with his mic he'll vaporize. Cross the streams in your dreams, bitch, you know that he's too wise. You're like Slimer talking crap, but you walked into his trap. Yo, it's more than entertainment, it's misinformation contained. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. The Statue of Liberty, the writing you can see. So bring the huddled masses, it's a war of the classes. While Trump may think he's Vigo, Dan can cut through that ego. He's got the facts to prove him wrong, got that logic like Egon. Your logic is a ghost, cause you know this chick is toast. When you follow MTG, it's conspiracy, you'll see. There's no need to taser, he's got wit like Occam's razor. Liberal Dan cuts those lies with his Jewish space laser.
It's unbelievable. Liberal Dan just used the literal dog whistle to lure a large group of internet trolls into what is being called a self-collapsing rhetoric singularity. In all my years of reporting, I've never seen anything like this.
So don't call to be a heckler, you ain't no Judge Rexler. He'll bust you like Scolary, cause your logic's looking hairy. Right-wing callers think they're cool, but they sounding just like Zool. You the dog, he the man, and yo, his name is Liberal Dan. So who you gonna call when the writing's on the wall? Call your man Liberal Dan, and the rhetoric will fall. Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan, Liberal Dan.
Twas the night before Christmas when all through the land Fox News warned its viewers of a dastardly plan. The liberals were launching their war on the season to get rid of Christmas and commit acts of treason, removing decorations out of their sight and telling you that Santa and Jesus ain't white. Environmentalists who will come right after your soul. They hate all things Christmas, especially the coal. They'll sneak in your house all dressed in their flannel and instead give the bad kids some new solar panels. They'll take up all decorations that please us. They'll even go after tiny baby Jesus. Now all these Fox lies cause such a frustration. Who would save us all from this misinformation? When live from the net there came lots of chatter. Could it be old St. Nick or perhaps someone fatter? Broadcasting from New Orleans down in Louisiana, it was none other than Liberal Dan, coming to save the holiday season, busting through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. But I cannot do it myself, he exclaimed, so he called other groups, each one by name. On Christians, on Muslims, on Wiccans, on Jews, on Hindus and Buddhists and atheists too. Let's all spread the word and tell them indeed that there's no war on Christmas, just one on greed. So instead of joining this manufactured fight, listen to Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right.
Proclaimed king, a groper in chief, stealing our country, a crooked orange thief. Faux patriots who are poorly educated, wearing red hats and also unvaccinated. Liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, Animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. A failing media that's barely treading water. They're too inept to fight this new world order. Corporate pigs are at the trough, hear the squeals. The swine won't bite the hands that feeds them meals. But liberal Dan will see us flow. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk comes the left, that's right. A leftist voice on air, exposing MAGA treason, breaking through their lies with facts, logic, and reason. Unmasking hypocrisy, the truth will be our guide. Call out their lies, justice is on our side. 'Cause liberal Dan will see us through. It's the best show that you're not listening to. So when you hear the call, animals unite. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right. Liberal Dan Radio, talk from the left, that's right.
And welcome back to Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right. This is your host, Dan Zimmerman, coming at you live from New Orleans, Louisiana. We probably will not have phone calls today, simply because we're going to be responding to Trump and his live address to the nation, which is why I'm starting about 2 minutes early, but, earlier than I might normally do, or actually probably a few minutes more early, because usually I like to start the Liberal Dan theme song right at 8, but, I wanted to make sure that I beat Trump to the punch and make sure to get all the music out in order for me to start the conversation accordingly. So let's go ahead and just mute the desktop audio for a second while we are waiting for Orange Foulius, the commander-in-thief, to get on his resolute desk and start giving us all sorts of bullshit that we all know are going to be fake news, right? So I guess this is a warning ahead of time to all the people who might not like to hear when I respond to Donald Trump videos is we're going to do it live. So, better to watch Liberal Dan Radio. Actually, tell all your friends that. Say, hey, instead of watching Donald Trump live on TV or live on the internet, watch him live on Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right. And therefore, you only give him one stream instead of many. So get them all on board. Come on around. If you want to support the show, remember you can support the show by liking the stream, subscribing to the channel, all that fun stuff. Go to other videos, share them, like them, comment on them, respond to other people who come on and give their inane comments, especially the conservative ones. Get some interactions going on, get things heated up, because the algorithm loves that, and the algorithm needs more rhythm. If you want to support the show for free other ways, if you have Amazon Prime, you could do it over on Twitch. You could buy a subscription once a month, every month, on any channel, but I would appreciate it if you'd use mine. And then you can gift subscriptions over on Twitch. You can buy bits. You can gift memberships over here on YouTube, buy super chats, super stickers, buy your own membership here as well. Become a Liberal Danimal. You can join the Liberal Dan Radio Patreon. Patreon.com/LiberalDan, Patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way gets you there. And You can always buy me a cider. Go to buymeacoffee.com/LiberalDanRadio. Or you can also Venmo at Liberal Dan on Venmo. I may very well try and change that up so that the Liberal Dan is specifically my business one starting at the beginning of the year and have my own personal one for other reasons. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. We'll give that an attempt. So far, we're just waiting for, I guess, a C-SPAN to go live in order for us to see what's going on there. Shouts out to the people in the chat. We got Steve from across the pond. Let me turn that back on for a second so we can play that. Chad, Bill, Surrender Monkey, Rick, John, who else? Hedge Enemy. I've got to play the Hedge Enemy theme as well, right? Anyway, so there's that. Who else? I said hi to Chad already. Jeff from just north of Uranus is also here. Let me see. Oh, I got 10 points. Yay, hooray for 10 points. Petrazi, good to see you. And I don't think I've missed anybody else so far. Jan, we are going to be watching The Address. So Whack P-Dubs, how's it going? Supposedly we're going to be watching it. I don't know. C-SPAN isn't showing it yet. We're going to see if maybe any other channels are showing it. Let's see if he's just standing. Okay.
I inherited a mess, and I'm fixing it.
Yeah,
when
right.
I took office, inflation was the worst in 48 years, and some would say in the history of our country, which caused prices to be higher than ever before, making life unaffordable for millions and millions of Americans.
Millions
This
and
happened
millions.
during
The president say billions.
a Democrat administration, and it's when we first began hearing the word affordability.
Donald Trump's
Border
never
was
heard the word
open,
affordability
and because of
before
this, our
the last
country was
administration
being
because he's a
invaded by
dumbass.
An army of 25 million people, many who came from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums.
And I know
They
they're
were
in
drug
mental
dealers,
institutions
gang
because I was
members,
there.
And even 11,888 murders, more than 50% of whom
Where is he
killed
getting his
more than
figures?
one person. This is what the Biden administration allowed to happen to our country, and it can never be allowed to happen again.
Why would we believe
We
any of
had
his
men
numbers?
playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody.
Let me just pause that in for a second. He's worried about that. He's going to be all over the place tonight, clearly. But why would he believe his numbers on anything? I mean, he says that his administration has told us that there are zero illegal border crossings over the last 6 months. If you believe that, you're an idiot. Let's continue.
Crime at record levels with law enforcement, and words such as that just absolutely forbidden. We had the worst trade deals ever made, and our country was laughed at from all over the world.
I believe they're laughing at you now more than ever. More than anybody else has laughed at this country before, they're laughing at you. I don't know, maybe John Adams, who knows? But
they're not laughing anymore.
they're crying because of how sad and pathetic we've become.
For the past 11 months, we have brought more positive change to Washington than any administration in American history. There's never been anything like it, and I think most would agree. I was
You thinking is the problem because no.
elected in a landslide, winning the popular vote and all 7 swing states and everything else.
That's the problem with the Electoral College is that, you only have to win swing states. You don't have to convince everybody, right?
The mandate to take on a sick and corrupt system that really just took the wealth from people and crushed the dreams of the American people.
Because we're doing perfectly wonderfully now, right?
For the last 4 years, the United States was ruled by politicians who fought only for insiders, illegal aliens, career criminals, corporate lobbyists.
Career criminals, and I know career criminals. I'm the best career criminal. No one does crime criminally, career-wise, like me, Donald Trump. I'm the best at it. You don't want anybody else. I'm the best.
Prisoners, terrorists, and above all, foreign nations which took advantage of us at levels never seen before.
And I know a lot of thing about taking advantage of people. Ask, the people who I've grabbed by the hoo-ha.
They flooded your cities and towns with illegal aliens. They decimated your hard-earned savings. They indoctrinated your children with hate for America. Really, I mean, they just...
Hate for America, really, easy for you to say.
Released a level of violent felons that we had never seen to prey on innocent...
Release violent felons. I would never do that. All of the people I pardoned on from January 6th were all peaceful. None of them assaulted cops. That's all fake news, right?
They caused war. They caused mayhem. They caused a...
Is that him saying mayhem? Mayhem? I guess.
Horrible situation all over the globe. But now you have a president who fights for the law-abiding, hardworking people of our country, the ones who make this nation run.
I like, these statements have not been verified by USA Today. Well, and if they did, they would be quickly fact-checked as mostly false.
Who make this nation work. And after just 1 year, we have achieved more than anyone could have imagined.
Achievement is a very loosely used term there. The achievement is, cratering into an abyss, then that's hell of an achievement. But,
Starting on day one, I took immediate action to stop the invasion of our southern border. For the past 7 months, 0 illegal aliens have been allowed into our country, a feat which everyone...
I was just talking about that on somebody else's stream before I came over here. I was like, if you believe, and I was saying 6 months, so now it's 7. If you believe this administration that there have been 0 illegal border crossings over the last 7 months, you're a freaking... I mean, look, Donald Trump did say that he loved the poorly educated after the 2016 Nevada primaries. If you really believe that figure, don't even bother waking up in the morning. Just stay in bed, do nothing, because you're a useless human being with no capability of processing any, logical and rational thoughts. Let's just put it that way. I don't even think Chad in the chat, who is a conservative, voted for Trump, I don't believe that Chad believes that figure. Do you believe that figure, Chad? I don't.
One said was absolutely impossible. Do you remember what?
Yes, that is absolutely possible, because it is impossible, because it's never happened. It's not happening now. There are people crossing. In fact, this administration has told us about how they've stopped drugs, supposedly of fewer kilograms of drugs than Biden stopped. But still, if you stopped drugs from crossing the border, if you caught them in here, then that was an illegal border crossing, you dumb piece of shit.
When Joe Biden said that he needed Congress to pass legislation to help close the border, he was always blaming Congress and everyone else. As it turned out,
because he wanted to do things legally, unlike you. Legally.
We didn't need legislation.
Yeah, you don't need legislation when you don't give a crap about the law. Right, you don't give a crap at all about legislation when the law doesn't matter to you. But Biden wanted to actually do things legally, and you came in and said, don't do it, because you didn't want a solution to the problem that you were claiming existed while, you were running for office. Because if they solved the problem, then they don't need to elect you. So you needed to keep the problem going on. That's the problem with people like you and politicians like you.
Just needed a new president. We inherited the worst border anywhere in the world, and we quickly turned it into the strongest border in the history of our country. In other words, in a few short months, we went from worst to best. We're deporting criminals, restoring safety to our most...
They're deporting tons of people who are not criminals, though, and that's the problem.
...dangerous cities. Just take a look at Washington, D.C. It's at levels of safety that we've never...
Levels... We should have made this a drinking game. I should have grabbed a thing of cider and made this a drinking game. And how many times he says levels like you've never seen before. Like he doesn't know how to use, adult language, so he has to make things up like a child.
Never seen before. And they decimated the bloodthirsty foreign drug cartels. We did that all by ourselves with our people, and we're so proud of it because they were poisoning and destroying our population. Drugs brought in by ocean and by sea are now down 94%.
By ocean and by sea.
We have broken the grip of sinister...
By ocean and by sea, but not by road or train or anything else, not by land or whatever, because, they're not actually looking. because they're too busy with ICE agents going in cities and going into Norfolk and, you know, detaining cruise ship workers that are here legally, or they're too busy going after people who are trying to become citizens and waiting in line and did things the right way and removing them out of line and say, no, you can't become naturalized. So they're too busy doing that. They're not on the border. That's why they believe it's zero, because they're not there to see it. And as we all know,
If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist.
Mr. Woke radicals in our schools and control over those schools is back now in the hands of our great and loving states where education belongs.
yeah, so the states can, you know, fail the students and then have no federal government to come in and say, look, you're screwing up. Especially like kids with like IEP, 504 plans. You know, screw them, right?
After rebuilding the United States military in my first term, and with the addition we are adding right now, we have the most powerful military anywhere in the world. And
We had the most powerful military anywhere in the world for a very long time. Like, you didn't do anything to make us have the most powerful military. That's just something that we've had for a while now. Like, probably since before you were born.
it's not even close. I've restored American strength, settled 8 wars in 10 months, destroyed the Iran nuclear threat, and ended the war in Gaza, bringing for the first time in...
Yeah, so because people are still not dying in Gaza, have you not? Of course he hasn't paid attention. He doesn't, you know, pay. If Donald Trump had to pay attention, attention would be broke. And Doge would have tried to cut it as well.
3,000 years, peace to the Middle East, and secured the release of the hostages, both living...
Biden got more hostages released than you did. Suck on that.
and dead. Here at home, we're...
Oh, great. Ads. Lovely ads.
Even your favorite superheroes are
Their allies in Congress looted our treasury for trillions of dollars, driving up prices and everything at levels never...
Driving up prices. Not like driving up prices with, you know, insane tariffs based on some bizarre economic theory that, you know, you probably don't even understand, but someone told you was a good idea, and it's not, because it's, you know, driving up prices because inflation. Still here, still killing American, you know, pocketbooks. But hey, you know, what do I know?
Seen before. I am bringing those high prices down and bringing them down very fast.
Wrong. That is wrong. You don't, wrong. Fake news.
Let's look at the facts.
Like, I mean, he just sits there and says things, and he knows his supporters are going to believe it, and everybody else is going to be like, you're full of shit. I just went shopping, and I understand that my checkbook is being depleted much more quickly than it used to be because of your dumb policies.
Under the Biden administration, car prices rose 22%, and in many states, 30% or more. Gasoline rose 30 to 50%.
One of the reasons that gasoline rose during the Biden administration is because of the deal that you signed with OPEC and Russia, because gas prices were tanking, and you didn't like that prices were tanking during the pandemic because demand was down. So you made a deal with those two nations, those two groups, I guess, and said, hey, we need to artificially reduce the supply of oil to stabilize the price. But in that deal, you never put any sort of caveat to make sure that if demand started rising, that production would start rising too. And then what happened during the Biden administration? You know, his plan was supposed to go through into April of 2022. That's the agreement that he signed, right? And then demand started rising because people started going to work, people started driving more, and guess what? They didn't increase production, so gas prices went through the roof. And whose fault was that? Yours! Because you signed the bad deal. The art of the deal, my ass.
Hotel rates rose 37%, airfares rose...
Why is he complaining about that? What did he love? The fact that hotel rates would go up? Because then he could charge the federal government more money whenever his people in the administration stay at his resorts. But he's not taking a paycheck, supposedly.
31% now under our leadership. They are all coming down and coming down fast. Democrat politicians also sent the cost of groceries soaring, but we are solving that too. The price of a Thanksgiving turkey was down 33% compared to the Biden last year. The price of eggs is down 82% since March, and everything else is falling rapidly. And it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress.
We're not done with you yet. You'll be by the time we're done with y'all will be just passed out dead from all of the greatness that we've had at this country, right?
Nobody can believe what's going on.
Especially the words that he's saying. Nobody can believe them because they're not true.
Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of
Except for Speaker Johnson, who apparently doesn't have a bank account.
record-setting falling incomes, our policies are boosting take-home pay at a historic...
Wait, did he just say we have record-setting falling incomes? Did he really just say that? Like, what? What?
pace under Biden.
Let's rewind that a smidge. Let's play that again.
Rapidly, and it's not done yet, but boy, are we making progress. Nobody can believe what's going on. Here are just some of the efforts that we have underway. You will see in your wallets and bank accounts in the new year. After years of record-setting falling incomes, our policies are
he said
boosting
after years of
take-home
record-setting falling
pay
incomes.
at a
Okay.
historic pace. Under Biden, real wages plummeted by $3,000.
And of course, what's it going to be this year? When after the end of this year, real wages will have dropped probably much worse. Why? Well, I don't know. Will real wages rise or fall when you cut when unemployment? When people start, are not eligible for unemployment anymore. When people are actually not working because the jobless rate is higher, because the unemployment rate is high now. It's growing now. We now have a growing unemployment rate. So if those people aren't working, are they not counted for the real wages? Interesting question. I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe somebody in the chat could let me know that. But yeah.
Under Trump, the typical factory worker has seen a wage increase of $1,300. For construction workers, it's $1,800.
And their costs have gone up by over $2,000, $2,500, $3,000. So if their wages went up by less than what their costs went up, then they didn't get a pay increase technically, because they are now doing worse. But you've never had to worry about that because, you've been raised with money.
Miners, we're bringing back clean, beautiful coal. It's $3,000.
There he is with the miners again.
And for the first time in years, wages are rising much faster than inflation.
Yeah, bullshit. At least it's spelled minors correctly this time instead of spelling it M-I-N-O-R-S, like, it did in another time where they were actually, one of his speeches or whatever.
Remember that the wages, just look at it. Wages are going up much faster than inflation.
Don't look at the numbers. Just believe me, because I'm going to tell you the truth, right?
How big is that? Very importantly, there are more people working today than at any time in American history. And
more people working, except the unemployment rate's higher. I guess, depends how you count it, I suppose, right?
100% of all jobs created since I took office have been in the private sector. Think of that. 100% of all jobs have been.
Yet how many people are unemployed because of your dumbass, and then you had to rehire them because of your dumbass? Or Musk's dumbass, or both of y'all's dumbass. Both dumbasses.
In the private sector rather than government, which is the only way to make a country powerful and great. This historic trend will continue. Already,
for the wealthy, maybe, not for everybody else, because you're too busy trying to slash and cut and harming people in the short term, which is going to harm more people in the long term.
Secured a record-breaking $18 trillion of investment into the United States, which means jobs, wage increases, growth, factory openings, and far greater national.
Chad's like, I'm glad he's sticking to the script and not wigging it. I mean, we still got some time left, don't we?
Security. Much of this success has been accomplished.
But weren't they always critical of Obama having to use a teleprompter? But now he's using one, right? And it's okay? Biden uses a teleprompter, it's not okay. Make fun of him, but Trump uses a teleprompter.
Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would flip. Had Biden done it, the screen fell play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay.
Maybe I need another song that is not had Biden done it, but when Biden did it, it was terrible. But when Trump did it, it was magically fine now, right?
By tariffs.
No, Jeff, he brought up the 2020 election. He said he won by a landslide. It was lamb. There was sheep. Donald Trump won with a landslide because all of his supporters are sheep. Thank you. Good night.
My favorite word, tariffs, which for many decades have been used successfully by other countries against us.
But they're not being used successfully by you. Might be your favorite word, but it's not the favorite word of the American consumer who are having to pay out of pocket for all of your insane fiscal policies.
But not anymore. Companies know that if they build in America, there are no tariffs. And that's why they're coming home to the USA in record numbers. They're building factories and plants at levels we haven't seen. AI, automobiles. We're doing what nobody thought was even possible, not even remotely possible. There has never, frankly, been anything like it.
Yeah, but there's never been anything like it because there's never been any president who's stupid enough to do what you're doing.
A year ago, our country was dead. We were absolutely dead. Our country was ready to fail, totally failed.
And now I'm proving that we are failing.
We're the hottest country anywhere in the world.
We're so hot. We're such a hot country. We're so hot. I'm going to divorce Melania and I'm going to marry it instead.
And that's said by every single leader that I've spoken to over the last 5 months. Next year,
Yeah.
You will also see the results of the largest tax cuts in American history that were really accomplished through our great, big, beautiful bill, perhaps the most sweeping.
Oh, now it's the great, big, beautiful bill. You added a G to it. You're going to add more letters. You're going to add an L and a T and a Q to it. Maybe. Oh, wait, they can't do that because then it'll be the LGBTQ bill. And then, conservatives would revolt.
Legislation.
I mean, MAGA are revolting, but,
Ever passed in Congress. We wrapped 12 different bills up into one beautiful bill. That includes.
And I don't like to wrap things up at all. So the fact that I was able to wrap it up was impressive even for me.
Oh my.
No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors. Under these cuts, many families will be saving between $11,000 and $20,000 a year, and next spring is projected.
I don't believe that, considering the fact that they're limited by $2,500 is the max or whatever that we figured out the other day that you could actually get somewhere around there as a benefit for the no tax on overtime. And then let's try and see what happens when they start doing, implementing the other parts from Project 2025 and actually start working on Project 2026, which is a thing,
To be the largest tax refund season of all time. Because of tariffs, along with the.
Can you imagine, during tax refund season, and then, let's say everybody gets a lot of tax refunds. Let's say that. And then he's going to be like, well, we weren't prepared for this, so we can't pay it out, so we're going to have to delay sending you your money. And then see Americans shit bricks because they didn't have the money to do it. Then they'll have to get Congress to pass some bill to allow more spending to be able to pay back American people their own money. That would be just par for the course, honestly. We have some of that as well. P-dubs, no tax on cash tips. Yeah, there already haven't been, because if you think that waiters are claiming cash tips, you're silly.
Just passed one big, beautiful bill. Tonight, I am also proud to announce that more than 1,450,000, think of this, 1 million.
More than 1,450,000 what?
450,000.
Oh, 1,450,000. Okay. But, if Biden would have said that, you have Fox News and other people at OAN or Real America News or whatever be like, oh, he can't even read from the teleprompter right.
Military service members will receive a special, we call warrior dividend before Christmas. So,
A warrior dividend. What is a warrior dividend?
warrior dividend. In honor of our nation's founding in 1776, we are sending every soldier $1,776. Think of that.
Hey, I don't mind that. I'm not going to complain about that. I think our soldiers are probably underpaid by much more than that, so they deserve it. So all these conservatives have been like, I had one on my page, can you think of one good thing that Donald Trump has done or whatever? And I was like, why would I bother trying to look for a shiny quarter under a 6'3" pile of crap? It's not worth it. But there. Giving the troops 1776, fine. I'm not going to disagree with that. What about everybody else? That's something else that's going to have to be dealt with. But our troops deserve more money than they already do get paid. So, but typically your Congress. But here's the thing: where is he getting the money? And is that going to wipe out the rest of the Doge supposed savings that we had? Like, you know, he wants to cut all this spending and then realize, oh, we cut too much spending, so now we have to put Band-Aids on it. So this is just another Band-Aid. I'm not going to disagree with the Band-Aid. I'm not going to criticize the Band-Aid, but I'm going to call it what it is, a Band-Aid on a bigger problem, because they probably wouldn't need the 1776 if you wouldn't have passed your other horrible fiscal policies. So the Band-Aid is a result of your inept administration.
And the checks are already on the way. Nobody
The check is in the mail.
understood that one until about 30 minutes ago. We made a lot more money than anybody thought because of tariffs, and the bill helped us.
They made a lot more money because of American taxpayers. How much of the 1776 are coming from directly from the people who are serving in the military? That's the thing I want to know. So if a military family has to pay like $4,000 more a year because of whatever the tariffs have increased their cost of living, and you're giving them 1776 back, great, wonderful. You've given them some money back from, you know, the fact that you've already taken money from them because of your inept fiscal policies.
So long. Nobody deserves it more than our military, and I say congratulations to everybody. And by the way, we now have record enlistment in our military, and last year we had among the worst.
We have record enlistment, and next year we're going to move to CD and tape enlistment as well.
Recruitment numbers in our military's history.
Of course, he also doesn't understand why people would sacrifice for the military. He doesn't understand why people would actually serve, and he's dishonored the military many more times. But, you know, 1776 in dollars is, you know, makes up for all that, right? Your disrespect that you've shown to specific military veterans like John McCain, the disrespect that you've shown to the military people and service people as a whole by, you know, misusing the military, and also, you know, by questioning what's in it for them, why would they do this? You know, the disrespect you've shown the military is ridiculous. But sure, give him a few shekels.
A lot of difference a year makes. In addition, I'm doing what no politician of either party has ever done, standing up to the special interests to dramatically reduce the price of prescription drugs. I negotiated directly.
Biden literally did that. And you actually signed an executive order reversing what Biden did, and then re-implemented something almost similar, if not exactly the same. So again, another lie. Hey, I would say this should be a drinking game, and every time Donald Trump lies, take a drink, but we'd all be dead from alcohol poisoning. So,
with the drug companies and foreign nations, which were taking advantage of our country for many decades to slash prices on drugs and pharmaceuticals by as much as 400, 500, and even 600%.
So they're slashing prices by 500%. So if a price of a drug is $100 and you're slashing it by 500%, you're now going to pay people $400 to get the drug? Yeah. This is not the person that should be leading the free world. He can't even speak correctly.
In other words, your drug costs will be plummeting downward, and I use the threat of...
And, you know, only for people who don't have insurance. Just leave that part out. Most people in this country are going to be like, oh, my drug prices have not changed one bit because I can't use TrumpRx.com or whatever this stupid website is because it's not for you. So, yeah, exactly, Christine. That's MAGA math.
Of tariffs to get foreign countries
Should make America math again. We should be able to understand how simple arithmetic works.
who would never have done it to pay the cost of this giant dollar reduction. They stopped ripping us off, and it began as of 4 days ago. There has never been anything like this in the history of our country. Drugs have only gone up, but now they'll be going down by numbers never conceived possible.
No, there's numbers no one's ever seen before.
Most
Take a
favored
drink.
Nation, and no president has ever had the courage or ability to get this done until now.
Except Biden. But go on.
The first of these unprecedented
When Biden did it.
price reductions will be available starting in January through a new website, TrumpRx.gov.
Oh, .gov. My bad. I mean, again, the fact that he has to call it. I mean, why couldn't he just call it like AmericanRx.gov? No, he had to put his name on it because he has to put his name on everything because that's how he, destroys things, by throwing his name on it.
And these big price cuts will greatly reduce the cost of health care. I'm also taking on the gigantic health insurance companies that have gotten rich on billions of dollars of money that should go directly to the people. The money should go to the people. That's you. So they can buy.
What should happen is we should get Medicare for all so we don't have to pay inflated premiums to, cover, corporate profits of corporate executives who are making decisions that some might need a Luigi board to, go talk with their former executives with. But, y'all don't understand. The conservatives don't understand healthcare. And we will get to that in a little bit after this part's over, because that's part of what I wanted to talk about today was how the conservatives don't understand our healthcare system and don't understand how any of it works.
Their own health insurance, which will give far better benefits at much lower costs. It will be.
Prove it. It will not. Especially if you're able to eliminate the Affordable Care Act. How will that do anything to give better insurance? Because they're going to go back to rescission and lifetime limits and annual limits. Pre-existing condition clause, will come back into play if you get rid of the Affordable Care Act. We'll talk about that more later.
Far better health insurance. The current Unaffordable Care Act was created to make insurance companies rich. It was bad health care at much too high a cost. And you see that now in the steep increase in premiums being demanded by the Democrats, and they are demanding those increases, and it's their fault. It is not.
They're demanding the subsidies return so that people don't see the big increases because we don't have a fix to the problem, because the fix to the problem would be doing something like, a public option or the Affordable Care Act so people can opt out of the private insurance industry altogether and save money by jumping on Medicare for all.
Not the Republicans' fault. It's the Democrats' fault. It's
the Democrats' fault for subsidies not being increased because the Democrats want to increase the subsidies and the Republicans won't vote for it. Although, actually, there were a couple of Republicans who did vote to, or did sign the discharge petition to be able to get it to vote, but Speaker Johnson's like, nope, we're not going to do it immediately. We're going to wait till the beginning of the year, and maybe that'll be effective on whatever. But that would still require the Senate to pass it too, and good luck with that. So, but it's not the Republicans' fault. They won't act.
the Unaffordable Care Act, and everybody knew it. Again, I want the money to go directly to the people so you can buy your own health care. You'll get much better health.
How much are you going to give to the people? You're going to give the subsidy amount to the people and let them use it themselves? Then there's no difference. If you're going to give less than the subsidy amount, then the people aren't going to be able to afford the insurance to begin with. Lose-lose.
Care at a much lower price. The only losers will be insurance companies that have gotten rich, and the Democrat Party, which is totally controlled by those same insurance companies. They will not be happy, but that's okay with me because you, the people, are finally going to be getting great health care at a lower cost.
I call shenanigans.
Another major focus is...
And look, if he was actually right on this, I will be the first one to come up and say, look, Donald Trump's plan worked. It was wonderful. It was great. La-di-da. I will absolutely come back and say, mea culpa, I was wrong, he was right, he got it fixed, whatever. Do I believe that's going to happen? Absolutely not. But I will admit when I'm wrong, something that he is not willing to ever do.
Is the cost of energy. For years, the radical left Democrats exploited the green energy scam as an excuse to funnel many billions of dollars into their own massive slush funds as their energy restrictions drastically drove up prices, and they drove them up at record levels. Electricity costs surged 30 to 100% under Biden, and the typical family lost $5,000 to $10,000 in higher energy costs. Think of that.
I want to see the fact check on that one, too.
$5,000 to $10,000 you lost. On day one, I declared a national energy emergency. Gasoline is now under $2.50 a gallon in much of the country. In some states, it, by the way, just hit $1.99 a gallon. And within the next 12 months, we will have opened 1,600 new electrical generating plants, a record, and it's a record that won't be beaten by practically, I would say, by anybody, or certainly not very soon. Prices on electricity and everything else will fall dramatically. The Democrat
will fall dramatically. You know, maybe. Of course, his predictions are, I mean, he thought that American people, or he said that American consumers won't pay the tariffs either, and that's what we're doing.
Inflation disaster, again, the worst in the history of our country, also robbed millions of Americans of home ownership and indeed the American dream. The yearly cost of a typical new mortgage increased by $15,000 under Democrat rule. In 11 months, we've already gotten that annual cost down by $3,000, and it's
so that the house flippers can come in and try and scam people out of the houses and lowball them with the amount of money that, because, you know, they're trying to push it down so they can then make profits. Don't get me started on that. I've had to deal with that crap for a little bit now.
Coming down a lot lower. Wait till you see. The numbers are going to be shocking. And I'll soon announce our next chairman of the Federal Reserve, someone who believes in lower interest rates by a lot, and mortgage payments will be coming down even further. Early the new year, and you will see this, in the new year I will announce...
What was that word salad? Ugh.
Some of the most aggressive housing reform plans in American history. A major factor in driving up housing costs.
Trump's housing reform is probably going to be like, let's keep the black people out of the white neighborhoods. That's one of his housing reforms is probably going to be. It won't be worded that way. At least, it most likely won't be worded that way, but it'll have the same effect.
Was the colossal border invasion. We have never been invaded. This is the worst thing that, frankly, in my opinion, the worst thing that the Biden administration did to our country is the invasion at the border.
Oh, hold on. I have to, my thing just went off. Crap. Hold on. We'll have to make some adjustments. Hold on. My earbuds just ran out of juice, and now I'm trying to get this thing, and this thing is all tangled up. So excuse me for a couple of seconds while I fix this crap. Where it is, where it be. Crap. Hold on. And then that needs to. I need to change this now to output me see.
Administration and their
Nope, that's still not working. God damn it. Of course. Why is this not going to work properly? Just give me a few more minutes or seconds and we will get this working hopefully correctly. Well, you could hear audio for a second, but the audio was coming through the microphone and not coming through my headset. So that's the problem. Let's do this, maybe. Try this one more time. Of course, this is happening live. Why wouldn't it? Give me a few more seconds. Gotta figure this out. Devices. Come on. Is that right? Is that working? All right, let's see if this works. That's still not working, but let's see.
Their allies in Congress brought in millions and millions of migrants and gave them taxpayer-funded housing while your rent and housing costs skyrocketed. Over 60% of growth in the rental market came from foreign migrants. At the same time, illegal aliens stole American jobs and flooded emergency rooms, getting free health care and education paid for by you, the American taxpayer.
Yeah, the amount of money that you're getting paid for EMTALA or whatever because of that is not, killing us, But if you take away EMTALA and the funding for it, it kills them, and that's what he wants to see. He wants to see dead people. Dead people on boats, dead people in hospitals, dead people because, they cut funding to USAID, dead people because he couldn't respond to COVID properly. Just dead, dead, dead. It's a party of death. They are a death cult. Let's continue.
They also increased the cost of law enforcement by numbers so high that they are not even to be mentioned. For the first time in 50 years, we are now seeing reverse migration as migrants go back home, leaving more housing and more jobs for Americans. In the year before my election, all net creation of jobs was going to foreign migrants. Since I took office, 100% of all net job creation has gone to American-born citizens, 100%. In the end, government either serves the productive, patriotic, hardworking American citizen, or it serves those who break the laws, cheat the system.
Notice he's now not making the distinction between people here legally or illegally. He's saying it's either citizens or non-citizens, which should tell you a lot. That should absolutely tell you a lot right there. That's all you need to know. That it's never been about, I've been saying this for a while now. It's never been about legality. It's all about bigotry and xenophobia. That's it. That's all it's about.
And seek power and profit at the expense of our nation. Look at Minnesota, where Somalians have taken over the economics of the state and have stolen billions and billions of dollars from Minnesota and indeed from the United States of America. And we're going to put an end to it. For so long as before my election, the vast majority of good and decent Americans were forced to watch as corrupt politicians plundered the halls of power exploited our taxpayers, and pillaged every system that makes civilized society function.
Civilized.
But not anymore, and you see that every day. Not anymore. We're putting America first, and we are making America great again. Very simple. We are making America great again.
Only for citizens and only for some citizens, because other citizens have been deported. But hey, go ahead.
Tonight, after 11 months, our border is secure. Inflation has stopped. Wages are up. Prices
Lie.
are down. Our nation is strong. America is respected. And our country is back, stronger than ever before. We're poised for an economic boom, the likes of which the world has never seen. Soon we will.
Wait, we're
host
poised for
the
the economic boom. So we're not having the economic boom now. As all you've been saying is that we've had this boom economically this past, however long, and now we're poised for it. So we're not even having it right now, right? Again, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
World Cup and the Olympics, both of which I got. But most importantly, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. There could be no more fitting tribute to this epic milestone than to complete the comeback of America that began just 1 year ago. When the world looks at us next year, let them see a nation that is loyal to its citizens, faithful to its workers.
Not loyal to citizens who, you've deported, not faithful to the workers who you're gouging with prices.
Confident to its identity, certain to its destiny, and the envy of the entire globe. We are respected again like we have never been respected before. To each and every one of you, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. God bless you all.
I didn't sneeze. But yeah. So there you go. Old Donnie boy. Failure to actually, be honest about anything. Like no honesty about anything whatsoever. Oh, wait, I finally got the soundboard back. There you go. There's an oh my for the soundboard, so at least we have that. I don't even know where the thing where my headset goes in went, so whatever. So yeah, Trump is going to start a war over oil and the Epstein files. Exactly, Easy E. He's cranked up, yet his eyes are slammed shut. Day one. Yeah, exactly. Day one, or Willoughby. Hey, Timothy, thank you for joining us over in the Twitch chat as well. FDJT, exactly. Jolie, I'm surprised he didn't say except for the radical left communists. I mean, he was busy bashing the radical left communist, socialist, whatever, and our so-called failed policies. Let's go into that, shall we? Let's talk about failed policies, failed promises, because we have... Oh, wait, that's... Hold on. That doesn't look good. We're going to turn the chat page off for a second. Promises, losses, and face plants. So after Donald Trump speaking, we're going to talk about his failed promises, his busted policies, his actual court losses. The amount of times that this administration has failed is just mind-numbingly it should hurt your brain, the amount of times that this administration has failed. But, don't just take my word for it. We have a whole bunch of things we could talk about. One of the things being Susie Wiles and the Vanity Fair interview. Now, there are a lot of places that you can go and hear about the content of what. And I'm not going to regurgitate the thing about whatever's going on with the content and the topics of the things that she's spoken about, at least not in great detail. But the fact of the matter is that you shouldn't have a White House chief of staff that goes and speaks to the media and basically throws everybody under the bus, making them have to do scramble mode. Oh, J.D. Vance, I am a conspiracy theorist. I just believe all of my conspiracies are true. Well, don't every conspiracy theorist, doesn't each and every one of them believe that their theories are true, right? So, but the ineptitude of this administration, that's just one of the many examples of ineptitude that this administration has dealt with. As you can see, all of the promises, policies, and face plants that this administration has dealt with. Doge, another example of this administration's ineptitude. The so-called Department of Government Efficiency, they said that we would get $2 trillion in savings, but the investigators found that only about $1.4 billion in verifiable savings. And most of the claimed cuts are either inflated or not examples of actual savings. As MAGA math, again, it's just a mismatch. The math doesn't work. The math's not mathing, as people might say. Court losses of this administration. States v. Trump, a multi-state coalition. Courts ruled that the administration's cancellation of FEMA's BRIC plan, the Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program, was unlawful and that BRIC must be restored. The judge ordered restoration of billions in disaster mitigation funding. The administration tried to cut. Washington versus Trump. It's still going on, but as of right now, state of Washington versus Trump, federal judge issued preliminary injunction blocking executive order ending birthright citizenship, saying that that's unconstitutional. It should be unconstitutional. Why? Because the literal Constitution says what it says, and it's plain English. Words have meaning. The appeals court has declined to lift the block. It's at the Supreme Court. Trump versus Cook, Federal Reserve removal case. Donald Trump versus Lisa D. Cook. D.C. court granted a preliminary injunction preventing removal of a Federal Reserve governor, finding that the firing violated the Federal Reserve Act. Appeals rejected emergency removal before a policy meeting. Federal judge blocks detention efforts. Federal judge blocked renewed attempts to detain Kilmar Abrego after his release, and he has been released. The courts have also told him, this administration, that in a 9-0 ruling, including Alito and Thomas, that they must give people due process who are being detained. It's not just for citizens. Funding freeze was blocked. Attorney General James et al. Versus Trump. Court blocked a Trump administration order to freeze federal funds, siding with multi-state attorney generals who argued the freeze was unlawful. Temporary block on ICE oversight limits. Federal judge blocked Trump-era rules requiring 7-day notice for lawmakers to inspect ICE facilities, finding it exceeded DHS authority. Congress has an oversight role and need to be able to go and be able to do the oversight that they are tasked with doing. These are not, cases on the fringe at all, while Trump has had some wins, especially in previous administrations. There's at least a dozen major policy actions that have been blocked by the courts. The administration has lost significant share of its court challenges because of weak legal grounding or rushed implementation. And then policies that get, knocked down over and over and over again is a pattern of failure by this administration. We have people, we're already seeing Dan Bonholio being, he's being let go or quitting or whatever, however it is you want to word it. He's going bye-bye. Other people, there's rumors of Nome going away too, because the people don't understand what they're doing. They put the inmates in charge of the asylum. So there's tons of failures of this administration. I mean, you should be able to indict a ham sandwich, as they say, but he keeps failing to indict because the people that he appoints they're either not qualified and or they don't know what the hell that they're doing because they don't have the experience. And then they just don't even follow the law of, when these appointments can be made. Like, you actually have to get approval by the Senate to put people in place, with minor exceptions. But you have to get the approval of the Senate eventually, even if it's just a temporary, hey, we're going to appoint this person. And in the case where they fail to do that, it's supposed to be judges that actually put the people into place to be able to do the job that are supposed to be done. But again, failure, 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 one right after another. This is just many examples of how inept this administration is, and we're going to continue to say, I mean, look, tariffs. He thinks the tariffs are wonderful, but we all know as consumers that the tariffs are terrible. The tariffs are harming American citizens. They're harming the people. So you can't just simply, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain, right? This is an absurd administration who just spent the last well, I don't know if it's half hour or hour or whatever it is, however long it actually was, ignoring the breaks that we took, to fix my technical issue and also to fix, actually make commentary on the bullshit he was saying. It's just one failure after another. Pig sandwiches, yes, ham sandwiches, pig sandwiches, etc. The budget has always been a Democratic hoax. You just don't get it. He has won more court cases in his term than he lost, in all fairness. I mean, but he's lost a lot of big ones. Yes, there are some big ones that he won that are problematic, but he's lost some embarrassing ones. That's the thing. Like, you should not have failed this many times to get an indictment. I mean, granted, the people he was going after shouldn't have been indicted to begin with, because this is all political retribution. As he said, it's retribution. Even frickin' Wiles said that the Letitia James one is probably an example of retribution, which just would go on to continue. That's just a giveaway to the Letitia James camp and anyone else who he's going after with retribution. He keeps retweeting or retruthing or whatever you want to call it. People who are saying, you should do this too. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. Failure. He has failed on the indictment because they were based around retribution as opposed to letter of the law. We all know that. Right. But that's, again, that's why this is an inept administration. Because they don't understand what the use of government power is for. He's using the power of government to go after enemies and to enrich himself. That's it. That's all he cares about. Everything else, there's also the bigotry and the harm that he does to the people who are here, because he needs to pay, at least somewhat attention to the bigots that support him, so that he can retain and keep his power, especially if he wants to try for old term 3, right? So, let's see. Poverty is a policy choice. Concentrated wealth is a policy choice. Inequality is a policy choice. 40 years of GOP trickle-down got us here. We have the power to build a system that serves the 99%. We should have the power to do it. We won't have that under Trump. Trump needs to be gotten rid of legally, but he needs to be gotten rid of in order for that to happen. Exactly. He pardoned a drug trafficker for maybe 10 million because he's, But that's not really the ineptitude issue. That's another thing. We have to be careful when discussing things that the Trump administration does. Is there's ineptitude, and then there's just criminal behavior, or what should be considered criminal behavior. Getting bribed to, pardon people, that should be criminal. That should be an impeachable offense. Everybody in the Senate and everybody in the House should be like, that's wrong, remove him from office right now, but they're not going to because the Republicans have no spine. So there's the crooked behavior, and then there's the inept behavior. And then you combine the two, and you create a windfall for the billionaires while also having a shit show for the rest of us. Chad, I know you feel differently, but for independents and Republicans, the speech was exactly what they wanted from the president. What, they wanted you to him to lie at you for a straight half hour? That's what you wanted? Lies? Because he lied. Like, the amount of times that he lied, if we would have take a shot every time Donald Trump told a lie in this entirety, in this entire speech, we would all be dead of alcohol poisoning. Just dead. Completely just dead. Limit number of pardons a president can grant in a calendar year. I mean, maybe. But I don't even know if that's the thing. It's because I don't think we should. I think that's an artificial constraint, too, on the office of the presidency. There shouldn't necessarily be a limit. If people should be pardoned, they should be pardoned. But pardon should come out of this person has shown contrition. This person has shown that they're in a better place, that they've improved themselves, that they're not the same person that they were 10, 20 years ago. Or maybe this person was unjustly detained and convicted, and the only way to get him out of prison, or her out of prison, or them out of prison, is to make sure that, we give them a pardon. So I wouldn't want to artificially restrict the amount of pardons that a president can do simply because of the fact that, it exceeded a certain threshold. I think that we should, basically say, if a president is going to sell pardons, that president should be removed from office. Simple as that. Trump can be prosecuted after leaving office. I don't know if he can, though, because there's the presumption of everything Trump doing being immune, and that's what the Supreme Court says. There's a presumption of that he's immune from anything that he does. He has a presidential immunity because for official acts, and then everything that's done is presumed to be an official act unless proven to be otherwise. And then you can't subpoena the communications of the administration to show whether or not he, was acting under the law or not. Why? Because now all those communications are considered to be privileged, regardless of whether or not those communications were about official acts or not. So I don't have any faith whatsoever that this administration can be held legally responsible. At least Trump. Maybe some of his underlings might be able to get got, as they might say. But I don't believe for a second that the Supreme Court is going to say, oh, we've changed our mind. He can be held criminally responsible for his actions. So, must differentiate between official duties and personal conduct. But again, is it personal conduct if he took the bribe? Or is it official duties because he gave a pardon? Right? That's the thing. They're in dumb or whatever. I don't know what that I don't know what your username is, dude. But no, I don't think that with his health is going to make it that long. That is a good point. There's no time limit on treason or sedition. No, there's not. But again, you'd have to then look at the Supreme Court and be like, okay, well, can we charge him for treason if we have the ruling that basically says all of his acts are considered as official unless otherwise proven? So, before we talk about healthcare real quick, oh, it's Chris. Oh, your boy Chris. What's going on, man? Oh, it's because they moved from showing our usernames to, or our display names to showing our usernames. That's why I didn't see that was who you are, because I hadn't seen that one yet. So now I know who you are. Okay, good. So, before we talk about this, though, let's talk about this example of something that I had to deal with the other day, or today, actually. I think I noticed it was today. I took the screenshot earlier today, and we putting somebody on blast on the podcast, on Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, that's right, because Louis Koenig, let's get rid of the buy me a cider thing so we can see it. Louis Koenig sent me a Venmo today for 1 penny. 1 penny. I got Venmo'd a penny from this user who looks like, wearing a Joe Exotic shirt, looks like he could be, the illegitimate child of Joe Exotic or whatever. But his comment towards me was, stop being a bitch. So he was able to use, I guess, pay me a penny to tell me to stop being a bitch. And I basically sent him back a request for $1,000 that said, look, if you don't pay me $1,000, I'm gonna put you on blast, and we're gonna show you all over social media that you are more than willing. And look, I have no problem with sharing this far and wide, so I'm sure this will get clipped at some point. And here you go. This person here likes to send a penny to tell people to stop being a bitch. It'll cost me much more than that. Or it'll cost you, I would say, much more than a penny to get me to stop being anything, let alone a bitch. And I'm definitely not going to be yours. That's for damn sure. But you're going to have to add a couple of decimal places to, you're going to have to add a couple of decimal places for me to pay attention more than just putting him on blast. So there you go. This guy wants me to stop being a bitch. And I say, how about no? I will continue being a bitch. So, and I am petty AF. Don't come at the king, or if you're not going to succeed, right? You don't miss. If you're going to come at the king, don't miss. So, anyway, there's that. But let's talk about healthcare for a second. Let's talk about health insurance, because Donald Trump is talking about healthcare for a little bit and trying to talk about how, the price of health insurance and everything like that. What these people don't understand, what these conservatives don't understand about health insurance is that the Affordable Care Act is not just about the premiums and the subsidies. That's what they want to make it out to be, because that's how they make it out to be the boogeyman. And I've talked about on this program that the Affordable Care Act has failed in certain areas to keep prices down, because one of the things that it enabled was you say, okay, well, you can't have cost sharing of more than a certain amount. And you can't, like 80% of every premium dollar has to go towards health insurance, health care. Only 20% of every premium dollar can go towards, for example, administrative costs, profit, etc. So if you as an insurance company want to make more money off of your insurance plan, if you charge $100 for a premium, for every $100 of premium, you could then say, okay, well, I can only pay 80 towards that amount. So let's say, okay, well, we're going to increase it, let's say $150 now for the same costs, for the same things that you're paying for. But now, instead of 80, it's 120 that you can get, and you can then increase yourself to make us have $20. It's $30 that now you can make off of that same increase. So you increase the premium cost, you increase the whatever you pay doctors, and at the end of the day, you end up making more money because you've increased the price of everything. The Affordable Care Act did not fix that, and that's something that absolutely should be fixed. And if conservatives were serious about fixing the Affordable Care Act and fixing the problems with their healthcare system, and didn't want to actually solve it with the real problem, like Medicare for all, Medicaid for all, or whatever you want to call it, they would take steps to fix that issue. But they're not going to take steps to fix that issue because, as Donald Trump claimed to want to go after the health insurance companies, but he's not going to do that because he's not going to fix that problem. By eliminating subsidies, you still have that problem. It hasn't resolved. Allow people to buy into Medicare. If you're not going to do Medicare for all, at least do a public option where I can, instead of paying for my work insurance $1,000 or more every month to cover the premiums, maybe you instead say, okay, well, you can buy into Medicare and you only have to pay $600 a month for your premiums. And then you're going to have much less cost sharing, all that other stuff, because you're going to eliminate all that middleman crap, and you're going to have a much better system. I mean, again, it's better for Medicare for all, but if we're not there yet, we should at least allow that to happen, but it's not going to happen under Trump. But that's one way to fix the rising cost of health insurance, rising health cost overall. You don't fix it by eliminating subsidies, giving people less money than what they had from the subsidies, and then saying, buy your own plan. Oh, the people. Donald Trump thinks that because he, a billionaire, can negotiate deals with insurance companies, that people magically making, minimum wage will now be able to coordinate and have a negotiation with those same health insurance companies and get the prices that they want. Again, he's an idiot because he lacks that experience in life. He's never had to make that decision, but people have made those decisions for him. They've made those purchases for him. He's never had to go in and said, hey, I'm gonna negotiate this price with you, and then have him laugh in your face because, you don't have the power, because the people as Donald Trump says, the people who are lower income, who still need their, to purchase health insurance because they don't yet qualify for Medicaid, they don't have the cards, as Donald Trump might say. The cards don't exist for them to be able to make those negotiations. So just giving them some money while eliminating the subsidies are not going to help them get better insurance. They're probably not going to be able to afford insurance at all whatsoever. But here's the other thing that conservatives don't understand as it pertains to the health insurance. Again, it's not just about subsidies. It's not just about cost. Rescission. Insurance companies just canceling policies just because they feel like it. Maximum lifetime limits, maximum yearly limits of how much you could spend on health insurance. If you get too sick, they'll no longer cover it. How's that insurance? That used to be the deal. It's not anymore because of the Affordable Care Act. Pre-existing condition clauses, them refusing to cover you for cancer treatments because you had acne. Or them canceling a policy because they said it was a material misrepresentation of the fact that you left out that you didn't have acne as a kid, and as such, you can now be denied your cancer treatment. This is the bullshit that insurance companies did back before the Affordable Care Act. And this is what the Affordable Care Act prevented those companies from doing. So that's one of the many things that are great about the Affordable Care Act. So yeah, you might pay a little more for your premiums, and that should be fixed. But you still need to make sure that we have those other protections that are in there that the conservatives conveniently ignore, because if conservatives were to address those issues or have those issues addressed to them or to their voters would be like, well, maybe that's not fair. Because I've spoken with conservatives who didn't understand rescission, didn't understand pre-existing condition clauses and how they were abused. And when I've talked to them, they've said, oh, well, that is absolutely wrong. And because that's why Obamacare polls lower than the Affordable Care Act. Because when you ask conservatives individual questions about certain things that the Affordable Care Act did, they'll be like, I approve of that. I like that. I like that. But then you call it Obamacare, they hate it. So, see, Big Hook, offer a public option that is cheaper than the insurance companies can compete with universal single payment. Well, that's basically was my point. That we if we were to do that, if we were to say, look, we're not going to give Medicare for all, but we're going to have a public option where people can use their tax dollars to buy into the Medicare instead of buying into the private health insurance plans or an exchange plan or whatever, people would do that, and then more people will start seeing, oh, maybe that is a better deal, and let's jump on that bandwagon too. And yeah, the health insurance companies would not be very happy about that, but, you know, every Republican conservative accusation is a confession, because Donald Trump says that the Democrats are in bed with the insurance companies, but in reality, it's the Republicans who want to give giveaways to all sorts of insurance companies, not just health insurance, but automobile and property insurance as well. Because what was the option? The only time that the Republicans have ever given an alternative to the Affordable Care Act was when it was trying to be passed, and their compromise bill was pass this instead, and that included having high-risk pools where people who are high-risk can go into that are run by the states. And then so those people pay a whole bunch of money towards their premiums, and the high-risk pools don't get the benefit of the low-risk people to offset the risk and have a pooling effect. So therefore, the insurance companies are only going to be the insurance companies will only at that point be insuring the healthy people, and then that's not insurance, because then they'll just be able to cut the high-risk people once they become high-risk, and then they'll have to go in the high-risk pools, and you're going to bankrupt the state-run high-risk pools. And you can buy them from across state lines, allowing insurance companies to find the state with the least amount of regulations, and then you, living in state A, buy from state Z and have the Acme fly-by-night plan that doesn't cover crap, doesn't have protections, and screws you over in the long run. Because the companies can just pick and choose where they operate from, and then use those states' rules when they're selling it across state lines. It's a dumb idea. But in reality, you know, that was just a giveaway to the insurance companies, because that would allow them to take all low-risk people, no high-risk people, which means they get to get more money in the long run. And it wouldn't have had that 80-20 rule that the Affordable Care Act had to try and limit the amount of money that they could push off and use from us and use as, you know, profit and administrative costs instead of actually having the premium dollars go towards paying for the actual health costs that you're paying for. The Republican Party will always give it. It's the same thing. We're seeing it in Louisiana with property insurance. We're seeing it with Louisiana with car insurance, that they are giving away sweetheart deals to these people to be able to come in and only sell to people who are low risk, thus pushing the people who are high risk into the citizens type plan or whatever it's called. Whatever it might be called in your state. I think in Florida and Louisiana it's called citizens. I don't know what the high risk pool plans are called in other states. It might also be citizens as well. So that is You know, again, every Republican accusation is a confession, and every time that he wanted to say that the Democrats are in bed with the insurance companies, it's really him that's going to be doing giveaways to the insurance companies, and then they'll invest in it and make a whole shit ton of money, and then they won't give a crap about anybody else and their health results. But again, if you really believe that Donald Trump cares about the health of this country, just look back at COVID. Donald Trump's failures during COVID to protect American people from dying during COVID shows the ineptitude of his administration the last time. This is an inept administration and a corrupt administration, and one that doesn't know what the hell that they're doing. Blind on policy. But again, if Trump can't see it, it must not exist, right? So, low premium plans work if they're for healthy people. And in reality, when I was working at a previous employer, I was able to take advantage of a low premium, high deductible plan bundled with an HSA. And the only reason it worked for us is because we actually had a lot of health costs, but also because of the pharmaceutical company games that they play. And this is something that a lot of people don't. If you don't deal with specialty drugs, you're not going to see this. But what happened when we were in that low premium, high deductible plan was, I mean, I had did the math before my wife was on like Humira. I think the drug was Humira for her psoriasis. So I figured it out. I was like, look, if I have this amount of costs over the course of the year, I was like, there was basically a window where the bronze plan was not as good as the silver plan. It was like if I had like $2,400 to $3,600 in a year of health insurance, of health costs under, you know, my health plan, the silver plan was worth better. If I had fewer costs, then the bronze plan was better. If I had higher costs, the bronze plan was better. But this was this particular plan. I'm not talking about all bronze plans though. I'm talking about this particular plan. But what made it even better for us that we were able to take advantage of this situation was we had like a $2,400 individual deductible, right? So the way that these like pharmaceutical companies work, they'll sell you this, you know, high expensive drug, very expensive drug, but then they'll have a co-payment assistance plan. So they'll assist with you paying the copay. So you might pay $20, but it'll cover the overall costs. So she basically had like over $3,000 of medicine every month. So she took part in that co-payment assistance plan, only paid $10, had her deductible met January 2nd of every year. And then all she had to pay for the rest of the year at that point was prescription costs. So that made that plan worthwhile for us. I mean, look, people want to say bronze plans are terrible. You have to look at the plan, you have to look at the person, you have to look at what they're saving and what they're gaining. And when tied with an HSA account, it could work. But again, each individual, there have been plenty of people who are be like, no, don't take the bronze plan, it's not worth it for you. Or don't take that bronze plan, or don't take this other bronze plan that's not offered by that same employer, but might have different rules that are going to harm you even more. So you may actually absolutely have terrible financial outcomes with those bronze plans. So you have to look at the individual plans and rules of individual plan to see if it works for you. But what would have worked better for us overall? Again, Medicare for all. That would have been the kicker. But the Republicans aren't going to support Medicare for all. Why will the Republicans not support Medicare for all? Well, they claim it's socialism, but because they're the ones really beholden to the insurance companies. So, yeah, Christine, exactly. Trump during COVID not masking because it would smear his makeup. Exactly. You were leaving the deductible out of the equation. That's just as bad as the premium. All politicians have failed us, in my opinion. I'm leaving the deductibles out of the equation for what? When I was on Medicaid, I didn't have deductibles. But even if you gave me the same plan that I had, this year, but let me pay, $500 and make it be a government plan, if that was the same plan, but it was Medicare, and I had to pay $500 less a month, that's $6,000 more I would have had to help offset other costs. So I absolutely talk about deductibles, but the cost sharing in Medicare for all, Medicaid for all is much less than the cost sharing that we deal with in a lot of other policies, a lot of other plans or whatever. So So HSA is the same concept Trump is floating by giving the cash to the folks. But no, HSA funds can't be used to pay for premiums. It might be something similar, but HSA funds can't be used to pay for premiums. HSA has to be used for health costs, not for the premiums. He wants to basically give you the subsidies, but not give you as much subsidies, and he believes wrongly that those subsidies will help you buy better insurance and cheaper insurance, and he's wrong. Because the people will never be able to negotiate that. People are going to go without health insurance, and they're not going to be able to spend that money to begin with. But again, if he would come up with a concrete plan that I could go through line by line and explain this to you, I would absolutely do so. You know I will go line by line through plans, through what he would suggest. But they haven't produced one yet. So it's all smoke and mirrors at this point. It's all, this is what I want to do, but he's not going to do it. Show us the plan. Let Trump show us the plan, and we'll go line by line as to why I'm sure it will be bad. And if it sounds like a good plan, I'll be like, look, this actually sounds legit. Because you know me, I'm intellectually honest. I like to be consistent. And if something will work for people, I don't care who proposes it. I don't care if it's a Republican or a Democrat that proposes it. If they propose something and it's going to work, I'm going to say it's going to work. I'm going to say good. I just don't believe that his plan, as he's suggested it, as he's described it, is going to be something that works. So, you just being the other thing. I agree with you a lot. I'm intellectual. Okay, well that's good. Pharmaceutical plan makes a huge difference as well. Specialist eye care that I'm said I don't have good hearing coverage. It's ridiculous. People have to pay so much for hearing. Exactly. I don't know what clip you're talking about, Chris, because you can't share clips in chat, unfortunately. Unless you can email to me, liberaldanradio@gmail.com, and I can see if we've seen it or whatever. Anyway, I'm not seeing anything there. So, but okay, so it's 9:22, and with it being 9:22, I do have packing left to do because I'm leaving tomorrow. Again, just as a reminder, if I do happen to go live, I'm probably not going to go live tomorrow, and if I did, it would only be on my phone. So if you're watching on Twitch, there's definitely no show tomorrow. Most likely there's no show tomorrow on YouTube as well, because I'm going to be out of town in Atlanta with the kiddos. So we'll be back Monday. And again, I want to make sure that I get a good night's sleep tonight, and B, I want to make sure that everything gets packed and ready to go so that I can, have a good wake up 9 o'clock or so, a little later, start the drive around 10 or so, make it there while it's still light out, etc. So, let's see, Christine, I never see any of the bills on Medicaid, just saw my oncologist today and now need to go back to the dermatologist. Yeah, I mean, the same with me with Medicaid. I mean, I think there was a couple of times when I was on Medicaid that I might have had to pay a few bucks for some of my prescriptions, and that's it. Like, it was ridiculous how good it was. And if I could pay $500 a month to get my family on that instead of having to pay $1,000 or now even more once the new year comes around, if I would be able to do that, I'd absolutely do that every day of the week and twice on Sunday. So, but anyway, easy. No, I'm not going to Disney World. I'm going to Georgia, nowhere near Disney World. I am going to see my mom for the first time in forever. So my youngest won't. He has a bar mitzvah to go to for a friend of his, and for some reason it's in Georgia, and want to make sure that he can see his friend because he doesn't get to see his friend much, if at all. So we're making the sacrifice to go drive him up. So if you want to help pay for fuel costs, Venmo Liberal Dan, because this honestly, this is not a trip that we really can afford, but I don't want to I don't want to tell my kid no that he can't see his friend. So we're going to try and do it as cheaply as possible. But again, I don't want to tell my kid no that he can't see his friend after that, even though finances suck. So, but thank you, Chad. Thank you, Chad, for the super chat. Also, again, if you want to help me out, Liberal Dan Venmo, just, and if you want to Venmo Liberal Dan and call me a bitch, please, you can feel free to do so. But maybe make it a couple of decimal points over. Maybe $100 will be enough for me to not report you report people for calling me a bitch, but not that particular one. Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much. We'll go out with a couple of songs or two, at least now that we can hear the desktop. So the desk audio, and have to recharge my stuff to make sure that we'll be able to use my headset, you know, in next week, whatever. Anyway, thank y'all so much. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Trump piled debt, trillions tall. Promised Mexico would fund that wall. Praised dictators, said they're strong. Had Joe done it, they'd say he's wrong. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd scream foul play. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Go through crises, storms, and war. Called soldiers losers who died in war. Hire his kids to run D.C. If it was Hunter, they'd scream treachery. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, Fox News would say right vague. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Love Kim Jong-un, he wrote love letters that take the guns first, lose those rights forever. Signed you spending bills with glee. Had Joe done that, it'd be tyranny. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, the child of today. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Kept secret files, countless untold. Said Putin's word was good as gold. Invited the Taliban to come to U.S. soil. If Joe had done that, they'd all recoil. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, the numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd want him to pay. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. Double standards loud and clear. Rules for Trump, but not for peers. What they call treason, if Joe's the name, is patriotism when Donald's to blame. Had Biden done it, MAGA would flip. Had Biden done it, whole numbers would slip. Had Biden done it, they'd shout no way. But Trump did it, so it must be okay. They wrote it in the laws, ink still bleeds. Treating women like soil, just planting seeds. She's gone, brain dead, not even awake. But the state's got a claim, gonna plant its stake. Say it's God's will, say it's life they protect. But they ain't the ones feeling pain or neglect. From Texas to Georgia, they set the trap. Rights rolled back while they smile and clap. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. This ain't pro-life, it's control and shame. They don't care if she's gone, just playing a game. Keep her hooked to machines, cold and still. Just a vessel to them, not a human with will. No consent, no voice, no chance to resist. Just laws in place, written with a clenched fist. Hospitals scared, judges playing God. Bodies ain't temples, just stay on pods. Gilead's here, this is true. Hey, MAGA fools, they'll come for you too. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator. Bands in the
the dark, they don't care who it kills. Sacking courts while they strip out all of your wills. But we'll fight back, march loud, burn bright, cause this ain't the end, it's the start of the fight.
Kill the ends here, ain't no grace, and those leopards are coming to eat your face. So I'm gonna jet, see you later. I'm not gonna be a baby incubator.
Not gonna be a baby incubator. Not gonna be a baby incubator.
Obama and Bush's pictures got hidden, obscuring the past, history rewritten. Hung in a hallway where no tour can see, confirming his unending fragility. If Trump can't see it, you must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. Object permanent, a milestone missed. If Trump can't see it, he must not exist. The testing was the line that he said. Hundreds of thousands needlessly dead. Now HHS is run by brainworm quack, hiding the truth behind his back. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. An administration run by narcissists. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Boxes of documents stacked floor to the wall. Top secret folders in a bathroom stall. Charges were pressed, but the case was dropped. A corrupt judicial system he can co-opt. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. He'll swear it's fake news, a liberal twist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. Campus downtown, tents lining the street. Invisible people that power won't need. Hide them away so the cameras can't find it. Proof of a system that's cold and unkind. A payout in secret, an NDA sign, an illegal bribe. Michael Cohen fine. Trump got fined too over his gag order, but she didn't gag, cause he was much shorter. It must not exist. That also includes the Epstein list. We can't let him win, we must resist. If Trump can't see it, it must not exist. The creative director at WGSO had a little something he thought you should know. When Dan picked on his bits, Steve got real gruff. So Steve called Dan a flake, called him liberal dandruff. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan, radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest. Steve's about to find out his mistake. In this feud, Dan's Kendrick, Steve is Drake. Dan might not be the world's best singer, but he's got more talent in his little finger. Steve thinks that his lines are really clever, but when do people ever like him? Never. Liberal Dan's got better lyrics, this is true. Listen and you'll feel like I do. Liberal Dan, his show is great. Liberal Dan, he goes live at 8. Liberal Dan, radio, it's the best, cause Liberal Dan's head and shoulders above the rest.